Shirley Strawberry had her life turned upside down by her husband recently after it was revealed that he was caught up in some pretty shady businesses. Not only that, but he also got exposed for having an affair with a younger woman on the side. But none of the things we found out about him were as shocking and chilling as what Shirley recently revealed. If scamming people for over $1 million, committing rent fraud, and sneaking around with a younger woman wasn't bad enough, Shirley Strawberry's husband has been exposed for a much worse crime by none other than his own wife. But before we get into all of that, there are two things you should note. There's going to be some details in this video that might be triggering to some viewers, so take this as a gentle disclaimer. And secondly, make sure to subscribe to our channel Celebrity Buzz to stay updated with any more news on this topic. Now, without any more delay, let's get right into today's video.
Let me ask you a question. The woman that you about to ask me this question about, do you love her?
Yes, sir.
Shirley,
Yes.
this your man right here. What?
It's a Nesto.
Wait a minute.
Now let's start with a little bit of a recap of what happened in this storyline. Shirley Strawberry has been happily married to Ernesto Williams. He proposed to her on her own show in front of thousands of people, and for the longest time, people thought that they were in a happy marriage. But as we all know now, that was certainly not the case with the couple. Some fans always pointed out how they got a weird vibe from Ernesto, and how the marriage seemed a little weird from the start. They knew something was off, but couldn't quite put their finger on it. It was recently revealed that all their suspicions were correct, and Ernesto was not what he seemed to be. Now this raised the giant question, how could Shirley marry someone so toxic and shady? When she has built her whole career over giving people advice on how to avoid the exact situation she got herself into. Anyways, back to what Ernesto did. Last year he was arrested for running a scam. The scam was run partially online, which made it even more successful. He would promise people things like fame and success in their businesses, take large sums of money as fees, and leave them high and dry. He would completely cut all ties with these people and ghost them. He scammed a total of 12 people and got over $1 million out of the whole thing. But he wasn't alone in this. Yes, he was accompanied by his side chick. Erica King, a woman in her 40s, was running this scam along with Ernesto right under Shirley's nose, and Shirley knew nothing about it.
57-year-old Ernest Williams, or Nesto, and 46-year-old Erica King, or Erica Hughley, allegedly promised an improved life for a cost.
But it doesn't end there. There was a lot more to the story than we were initially told. And now, finally, Shirley has shared the details about the case that we've all been waiting for. According to reports on the case, there were a lot of crimes that he committed. We'll tell you guys about all of them, but first we need to talk about the details that Shirley shared with her fans. According to case reports, after investigators did more digging on Ernesto to get to the bottom of everything, they found something they were not expecting, and it shook them to the core. Now, if you think all the things he has done so far are bad, brace yourself for what we're about to tell you next, because it will give you chills. But before we tell you what it is, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share this video with a friend who might enjoy our content. Now let's get back to the video. After their extensive research into Ernesto, they couldn't find anything new for a while. But that was until they decided to check things like his social media connections, his phone and laptop. And this was where they found the most chilling thing in this case. On his laptop, the investigators found explicit pictures of minors. Not only did he have these pictures in his laptop, it also looked like he was sharing these pictures with other people. Now this was a new finding in the case, and another charge was reported in his name instantly. But that's not even the worst part of it all. It turns out that he had committed disgusting acts involving not just one, but around 11 minors. Yup, you heard that right. And if that wasn't disgusting enough, it got worse as the investigation progressed. Turns out, one of the minors that Ernesto chose as his victims was none other than Shirley Strawberry's own daughter. Shirley cherishes her only child with all her heart, and it's insane to think that a man so disgusting and evil was living under her roof doing these things to children, including her own daughter. We can't imagine what Shirley must feel right now, and we send her our thoughts and prayers in this dark time for her. Now you must be wondering, what other crimes did Ernesto commit? Remember we said we'd tell you guys all about his life of crime? Well, let's dive into that.
essentially position themselves as experts in the fields of business growth, development, coaching, things of that nature.
Now, after Ernesto got married to Shirley, he seemed like a really nice guy to her. He was good to her and treated her well. He even set up his own businesses to become a respected member of society. He first set up a high-end barber shop in Atlanta, one that was frequented by A-list celebrities. The barber shop was a hit, but he wasn't quite satisfied with his earnings just yet, so he decided to start another business. This time, he was providing unarmed security to big-name clients. Both of these businesses were booming and things were looking pretty good for Ernesto before everything came crashing down. It first started when fans thought that something was off about the guy and did some digging of their own. They found out that Ernesto lived a life full of crime before he met Shirley. In fact, charges against the guy went as far back as the 80s and continued until the 2000s. There was no way Shirley didn't know about all of this. And if she did, why did she choose to marry a known criminal? Well, it turns out that Shirley believed in Ernesto and thought that he had changed his ways. She really thought that Ernesto was finally leaving his past life of crime behind him and moving forward as an honest member of society. But you know what they say, old habits die hard, and Ernesto wasn't exactly a changed man after all. He was still the same old criminal. The only difference was that he was hiding it better. Now, if he was hiding it so well from everyone, how did he get caught? Well, that's a whole other can of worms.
Police say their investigation first started at this home on Pine Grove Road months ago. Investigators say after Williams and King hadn't paid rent for a while, detectives started looking into their financial transactions, and it led them to their extensive scheme.
Ernesto had been scamming people with a woman named Erica King, like we talked about earlier. But what we didn't tell you is where he was keeping his side chick. He was sneaking around with Erica in the house next door to Shirley. Yup, he rented out a whole house so he could sneak around with Erica. But after he failed to pay rent for 4 months for some reason, the landlord filed a report for rent fraud, and it all went downhill from there. Once police looked at his finances, they noticed that something wasn't adding up. And when they dug deeper, they found out about the dozen people he and Erica had scammed out of $1 million. Poor Shirley, not only did she have her life turned upside down by a scamming husband, she also got cheated on only a few years into her marriage. Now that's just sad, won't you agree?
Showed Shirley a diamond ring.
Yeah.
Will you marry me?
And that was all we had time for in today's video. How do you feel about this whole drama? Do you think Shirley would stay with Ernesto after all this? Tell us all your thoughts down in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel for more videos in the future. With all that said, as always, we'll see you in our next video. Goodbye and take care you all.